But the first time I came to Seattle was a long time ago. It was 1999. Anyone was in Seattle in 1999? There was people in Seattle stay in Seattle, right? So there was a very momentous event that garnered worldwide publicity that happened in 1999. Do you remember what that was? And the chief of police lost his job over it. The Battle of Seattle. Right? Do you remember that? Right, the WTO, the World Trade Organization and International Monetary Fund, they had a huge international conference in Seattle. And so I was just out of college at that time and actively involved in the anti-sweatshop movement. And so I got on a plane from North Carolina, where I lived at the time, and I came here to demonstrate in the streets of Seattle against the practices of globalization that were negatively impacting the third world. And so I was welcomed to Seattle with rubber bullets and gas and all those really amazing things. So I tell that story because what I want to share with you today is a lot of hope and a lot of happiness. But those are things that I wasn't feeling at that time in 1999. So what motivated me to come here in 1999 and to demonstrate was a firm belief that there was something wrong with the way that our world was operating. And do you agree with that? Yes. There's something very unnatural about thousands of children dying every day from preventable disease and hunger, while those of us in this country throw food away every day. Right? So these things really bothered me a lot ever since I was a tiny little kid. And so that was what my motivation. So I had a lot of passion about it. But my approach at that time was to hold signs and to chant, "Stop the war!" Right? And to confront people, right? To try to make people wake up to that reality. How does that work, do you think? Did that work well? Right, people just thought I was a jerk, right? So they didn't want to hear the message. So without knowing it at that time, the Earth Citizen movement was really my passion. But because of the way that I grew up, right, my father had a lot of anger, and so I without realizing it, that was kind of coloring my experience with everyone that I met. And so I wasn't effective, and so I started to lose my hope. And then I was a classroom teacher in Brooklyn, in the 5th worst performing school in the city of New York. There's thousands of schools in New York, right? So it was the 5th worst school in the whole city. And I asked to go there. I asked to be placed there because I wanted to turn the school around. I had that kind of passion. And maybe I was naive. Okay? So, every morning when I would wake up, I would have in my mind what I wanted to achieve. And I was working with these beautiful kids that were all well below grade level, barely functionally literate in 5th grade, whose older brothers and sisters were in jail for gangs and drugs and violence. And I was so passionate about trying to change that cycle and trying to help. But it's an uphill battle, right? And I didn't have, so when Danielle was here leading us through the meditation, how did you feel? It felt so peaceful, right? And so energized and hopeful, and you felt your heart. I didn't have any of those tools at that time. So I just felt the stress. I just felt the heaviness of the reality of what I thought. And so I didn't have much hope. So what do you think happened to my body? When your mind starts to get dark like that, what happens to your body? You start to get sick, right? So then that's happened to me. So my big thing was my breathing. I started getting chest pain. Even though I was vegetarian and I exercised, I thought I was really strong. But I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. I had all this pressure in my chest. And so at that time, my son was just 2 years old. So my wife said, "You better come to my yoga center. And you can't die now. We just had this child," right? So reluctantly, I went to the yoga center near my house. And at first, I really hated it. Have anyone here practiced before? Right? So I was really stiff, so I couldn't do any of the exercises well. I couldn't even sit on the floor the right way. And every day I told my wife, "This isn't for me. I think I'm not going to go back." And she would always say, "No, come, just try one more time. Come on, come. And one day we were taking a walk, and I said, "Sweetie, you know what? This is great for you. I want to support you with this, but this is not for me. I'm not going to come back anymore." And so she said, "Fine." And then I said, let me try just one more time. I'm just going to do one more time, and then I'm going to see, and then I'll probably not do it, but just in case, right? Just one more time, right? So that one more time became thousands of times. Because something inside, like I realized without knowing what it was, that I needed to change myself. And so through this training, I really recovered my health. And then most importantly, I recovered my love and my passion. And then that anger that was kind of like under the surface, that would easily come out when I became stressed, started to go away. And so what I realized as I began changing, what do you think happened to the students I was teaching? Yeah, isn't that amazing? We said before, monkey see, monkey do, right? Humans are the same, right? We have the same mirror mechanism in our brain. We're completely influenced by the energy around us, right? That's why we need to make ourselves strong, so that we can be a good influencer of what's happening around us. So I took a 2-day brain education workshop from a very powerful woman named Nora Lee, who became my mentor for the last 10 years. And then I started bringing this training into my classroom. And at first, those big boys that were only in 5th grade, but they were about this tall, they look at me and they're like, man, I ain't doing that. I'm not doing that. That's what they said. Nah, Mr. Beal, I ain't doing that. Right? So that happened the first day. And then the next day, I introduced it again, and then more than tried it. But then this one boy named Kwame, he was kind of the leader of the class. And he's like, no, I ain't doing it. And he was just sitting watching. And then the third day, we were just going about our work and everything. And then it started to get late in the day, and Kwame said, Mr. Beal, when are we going to do that brain thing? And I said, Kwame, I thought you didn't like the brain thing. And he said, I'm not saying I like it, I'm just asking when we're going to do it, like that, right? So then Kwame started to come around. And then I started getting more confident. Wow, if Kwame's going to do it, And then when he took an active role, then everyone would follow that. And then the energy in my class shifted. So up to that point, I would have 3 or 4 fights every single day in my class. Before we took a test, a lot of my students would refuse to take the test. They'd ball up the test. I'm not going to take that. And then after we started with the Power Brain, I would see my kids, before a test, they would do the energy meditation. And their eyes would be closed, and they would be visualizing their success. And they'd say, I can do it, I can do it. And then the boys who used to fight each other, they would give each other hugs, right? And the energy completely 180 degrees shifted. And then my principal, who I wasn't brave enough to tell about this program before, I just closed my door and did it. She saw the results. And then she asked me what happened. And so I invited her to see a Power Brain lesson. And then we started to do that in the entire school. And so all my colleagues started to help, create those changes as well. And then in another school that I worked in, the same thing. We worked a school-wide program. And the changes were really phenomenal. And so I started to see, this is really what I want to do. I didn't become a teacher because I like math or science. I became a teacher because I want to change the world. And I think maybe this is how we can do it. And so for the last 8 years, that's been my hope and my work, is let's empower the teachers who have the single greatest impact on kids outside of their parents. Let's empower teachers with these simple tools, meditation and breathing and exercise and harmonious collaboration activity that can create in the classroom what we want to create in our world. Right? So that's what I want to share with you guys a little bit about today. Does that sound good to you? Yes. Okay, so the title is Hope for Our Humanity. Right, so when we talk about the Earth Citizen Project, right, so do you think the Earth is worried? Yes. Are you sure? How old is the Earth? Almost 5 billion years. And then if we could condense the lifespan of the Earth into 1 calendar year, do you know how long humans have been on the Earth? 1 second. Let me ask again. Do you think the Earth is concerned? No. No. The Earth is going to be fine. Regardless of what we do, even if we play out the most destructive scenario of humankind, the Earth will rebuild. It always does. So the Earth Citizen Movement is really about us recovering what? Our humanity. That's the purpose of this movement. Can you feel that? Yes. Okay, can we have the next slide, please? Okay, so do you know the brain operating system? No, maybe not. Let's read it together. So, number 1, what does it say? Right, we need to be awake. Don't you agree? Right, we need energy. We need that focus. And the second one? Right, that's very important. So that's what I want to focus on today, is that word that our awesome drummer started off with, which starts with an H? Hope. Right? When we have hope, we have everything. then we can move in a positive direction. When we don't have hope, how do you feel when you watch the news? How did you feel yesterday when you heard what happened? Even just 40 minutes from here, right? Worried. How do you feel when they show the Ebola virus? That's right. And then what do you want to do when you feel that way? You want to run, you want to stay home. You want to pull the covers over yourself, right? But then we know that's not the right thing, right? So we need to focus on hope. And do you feel hope from today? Yes. Don't you? Yes. I hope you feel really proud of yourself for being here on this Saturday, this rainy Saturday in Seattle, right? All together to celebrate our hope. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to focus on. So to utilize the power of our brain, the founder of brain education, Il-Chi Lee, created this brain operating system. Good news creates a good brain. Did you see a lot of good news today? Yes. Right. So we need to be creating that good news. And then the third one is what? That's right. If we keep focusing on our goal, we keep focusing on our vision of what we want to create, both for my life, like what Danielle was mentioning, the inner landscape and our outer landscape. If we really choose and we face those obstacles head on, definitely we can create it. And then the fourth one. Doesn't that sound good? And the fifth one. Yeah, that's right. Let's not waste time worrying or complaining about our circumstances. Anyway, we have enough, right? Instead, let's believe in the power of our brain and let's really move forward. So next slide, please. Oh, yeah, thank you. The answer is in our brain. Thank you very much. It's very true. And now, so this is our brain. Do you like it? Yeah. So the three main parts, this is what we teach the teachers and children. So the three main parts of our brain, we have here the neocortex is the top part of our brain, our thinking brain, right? So often when we think about the brain, that's what we think about, it's just our intellect. But is that all we are as humans? Definitely not. But that's a very important part of our brain. So that's our executive function that we want to really develop. But then the little deeper layer of our brain is the limbic system, which is in charge of what? Emotions. And then the deepest layer of our brain, the brainstem, controls what? Our life functions, right? So can you please repeat after me? Healthy body. Healthy body. Happy heart. Happy heart. Power brain. Power brain. I can do it. I can do it. Well, it's almost like some of you have done that before. That's amazing, right? Right, so that's the understanding is it's physical, it's emotional, and it's cognitive together. That's when we feel powerful, when we integrate our physical, our emotional, and our cognitive ability. Okay, and next. And next slide, please. Right. So I'm going to speak very briefly about the word educate. Right? The definition from Latin means what? To draw out or to lead out. So to draw out what? Information. Actually, that's what we think education is. We are stuffing information in. Isn't that what mostly we think education is, right? Yeah. Putting in facts and figures and memorizing and that kind of thing. But actually the true essence of education is not about stuffing in. It's about empowering that child to realize the greatness and potential that they have inside already. Right? When you saw those beautiful kids dancing on stage, what did you feel? Who is teaching who? Right? Yeah, we have that pure essence, that beauty inside. It's really about cultivating that infinite potential that we have. So the purpose of brain education is not to try to manipulate or control our kids. The purpose is to empower them with the understanding that they can do anything that they want if they fully develop that potential. So we say human character, discovering our true human character, and our limitless potential, and our natural healing power. Do you like that definition? Yes. Is that what the earth needs right now? Yes. Yes. Okay, next please. And now, just very briefly, oh, that's my son on the right side. Couldn't see me time, but that was about 4 years ago. Now he's almost as tall as me. So, one aspect of our program is we help to build focus and attention. So that's very important. Do you want to improve your focus? Yes. That's really important to be a leader to achieve our goals. And then next. And then our emotional regulation, right? Self-regulation and balanced emotion. To have a positive mindset. How do you feel when you look at those pictures? Happy, right? We say happiness, creating happiness, that's one of the core things. The best exercise for our brain is what? Laughing and smiling, right? So simple, right? So when we do exercise, we always have the kids, even if it's challenging, instead of making this kind of face, right? Smiling, breathing out, smiling. That's really, really important. And then next, confidence. What do you think about that one? Is that important? We need leaders now. Don't you agree? Yes? Don't you agree? We need her to be a leader. That's right. That's what we need. We need to give them that message and let them grow as strong leaders to help us to change and keep shifting. Okay, next. And then what I want to focus on with you is four different areas of our world that are currently utilizing brain education. And I want to kind of transmit the hope that I feel based on these different areas. Okay, so the first one, as we heard from our MC, is about El Salvador. So raise your hand if you're familiar with brain education in El Salvador. Anyone? So we have the International Brain Education Association, which is a nonprofit NGO that works with the United Nations, that was invited by the representative from El Salvador to come and teach brain education in El Salvador schools. And starting from one school, over the process of 4 years, we now have 180 schools in El Salvador, which is a tiny country, right? So 180 schools are now doing brain education. How do you feel? Do you like that? And then also, the Zuni Pueblo tribe in New Mexico. We did a project there last year that was really, really well received, and they're looking to expand in the Zuni Pueblo. So these are some of the pictures of the kids doing some of the activities together. The main result, you can see from the superintendent, so the main result was in the students' behavior. So that was a big aspect, or a big problem that they were facing was disciplinary action, because the kids were fighting, they were having drugs, absenteeism. There's a big, big problem with that. And then during the intervention, over a 3-week period, whereas usually every day he would have some kind of, kids into his office and these kind of disciplinary hearings, he had none. Nothing at all. Right? And so we saw huge improvements in the absenteeism rate, in drug abuse, and in the relationships between the kids. So it was really, really hopeful. Okay, so let's hear for them. And then in a suburban community in Virginia, in a town called outside in Burke, Virginia, we did a very simple intervention there, where just for 7 weeks, only for 30 minutes a week, kids were given brain education. So it's such a small thing, right? Just a total of 210 minutes the kids were exposed. And you can see the results were actually really, really impressive. In self-efficacy, that's their belief in themselves. Right? That's the single most important thing. If I say I can or I say I can't, I'm right. That's really, really true. It's debilitating to have that negative view of your ability that really holds our kids back. So one of the really awesome tenets of our program is giving the kids self-efficacy, that I can do it. I believe in myself. So they try new things. And then when they mess up, what do we say? What's wrong with you? Why did you do that? What do we say when we make mistakes? Mistakes are okay. That's how we learn and that's how we grow. Right? So self-efficacy is really, really key. And then the cognitive strategy is building self-esteem. And then test anxiety. Do you get nervous when you have to take tests or have an assessment? Yes. Yes, thank you. That's the number one reason why we underperform is anxiety, right? And so giving kids meditation and breathing techniques and methods to use to combat that anxiety helps them to perform at their optimal level. And then next, and this is one that I want to really talk about. This is very near and dear to my heart. Public School 1 in the South Bronx, in one of the toughest neighborhoods in New York City. If you can see that top middle picture there, on the right is the founder of brain education, Ilse Lee. And on the left is the principal. His name is Jorge Perdomo. He's this very charismatic, amazing, young Dominican principal who runs an amazing school. And he's embraced brain education since 2008. And he himself has taken the week-long leadership course, and he believes in this 100%, so much so that in the top left here, this picture here that says health, happiness, and peace. Does that sound familiar to you? Right? That's our logo. He made it his school's logo. So PS1, this is on every document, every letterhead, every t-shirt from the school has this health, happiness, and peace. That's the foundation of the school. And then since introducing BE, we did a pilot project again last spring. And then the results were really, really exciting. So 13% of the students had an increase in feeling excited about school. 16% more students believe that they're always smart, so they're believing in their ability. And then 14% increase in students who always love themselves. Okay? And then as a result of these kind of programs, 53% increase in students who are happy. Right? So when students are healthy, when students are happy, their performance is at their optimal level. Does that make sense to you guys? Yes. And isn't that what we want? Yes. Right? How can we draw out greatness when the teachers and the students aren't happy? Right? Isn't that really the key, the cornerstone? For sure. And then next, please, next slide. And then this is Mr. Perdomo here in the top. Can you see him doing this one? Have you ever done this before? So this is a martial arts breathing posture, right? So we teach the teachers and the kids this one, so he's doing that one. And then here, power brain and trust your brain and be honest. These are on the walls in his school. So when the kids walk through, they see these positive messages about being a power brain, right? And then here, right in front of his office, I don't know if you can read this. I choose health, happiness, and peace. That's the first thing that he sees, and anyone who comes into his office sees that message, right? That's the foundation of the school. And so this is a kind of long quote, but I highlighted kind of the main part, is that it's truly transformational. So through brain education, Jorge took his school from a D to an A, right? And then this is the program that he credits with making that change in his school. Okay, so let's give up for PS1. Next slide, please. And then just to give you some hopeful news about what we've been doing in sharing great education and sharing the consciousness of the Earth Citizen movement. So over the last 8 years, we've had 350 schools in the United States that have utilized our program, training more than 10,000 teachers and more than 30,000 kids. And then these are kids all over the world. So this is from Timbuktu Academy in the inner city in Detroit. These are from kids from the suburbs, kids from every walk of life, becoming an Earth kid, right? Connecting with that consciousness of togetherness and oneness to be a leader to change our world. Okay, next slide, please. And then to give you an idea of what we're doing nationally as well, we presented to the Congress of New Mexico about a year ago, and then we're up for introducing a bill in February in New Mexico to have New Mexico be the first state to publicly fund brain education programs in their schools. What we've done up to this point has been without any support from the government, right? It's just been schools that have felt the need to do this, and the parents have come together, the teachers and the school leaders have come together to fund the program and to create the program. So can you imagine if we can get the government on board, and then instead of spending money on so many things, do you know they waste money on so many things in schools that are not really helpful for the kids, right? But starting with these basic things about health and happiness and empowerment and focus, can you imagine what we can create? Okay. And the next slide, please. So my question for you is, what's next? Seattle and Kirkland and Tacoma, right? So this picture is from the Kirkland Earth Citizen Learning Center, where we had a workshop a couple of months ago. So this is really what I want us, my message is, let's be the hope, right? Let's create the hope. Let's not let the negative things that kind of pervade around us in our society, let's not let that be the final chapter of this book of humanity. Let's create a different way. And then, like Danielle was saying, that starts with us. So the beauty of this training is, the way that the students change, who has to change first? The teachers. And then through the change of the students, who also changes and benefits? The students and the parents, right? So for the first time in my life, so before I was stressed out and I couldn't sleep. That was one big problem why I joined the center. I had insomnia. Nowadays, sometimes I can't sleep, but it's because of excitement. Right? It's because this is something that I feel that can really do what I've been dreaming about since I was a kid and didn't know what it was. And what I think everybody here is dreaming about. Is that right? Right. So to do that, let's be the hope. Let's take those small, simple, powerful actions every day, and let's create that. Right? Let's create our world. So the last thing that I want us to do you like that idea? Yeah. You like it? Let's get some energy, right? Okay. As I showed you, the brain operating system, one of the 5 parts of the brain operating system is, if you choose, it will happen. So I want us to, the last part that I want to leave us with is a very simple time to use what we call our mind screen, right? Opening our mind screen to really visualize what do we want to create. Okay? So if you can have a good posture and sit up straight, okay, and relax your body. Rotate your shoulders for a minute. And take a deep breath in. And breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. And now let's close our eyes. And now in front of you, imagine you have your mind screen. Bright and infinite mind screen in front of you. And on your mind screen, please see a picture of yourself. Healthy, happy, peaceful, full of energy. You can see your body strong and energized. And you can see that bright smile on your face. And you can see your clear and bright eyes, full of confidence and full of passion for what I want to create. And feel that brightness inside. And you can see yourself sharing that brightness and sharing that hope with one person around you. And see that person also building their health and their happiness and their focus and their passion and lighting up and feeling that infinite greatness inside. And that one person is sharing with the people around them. And see that brightness spreading one by one by one. And see every child in every school, every teacher, every parent, every member of the community full of that brightness and that hope and that energy and that passion, and feeling that consciousness of what it means to be an Earth citizen, what it means to truly love each other, what it means to truly work together to create the peaceful world that we want. Now use that creative power of your brain. And let's visualize, what does it look like for me? What do I see? How am I using that health and happiness and hope to change and to grow? What does it look like? And see in your community so many wonderful things happening. And you can see even the evening news changing. And from 300 or 400 people, our numbers grow to 10,000, and 100,000, and 1 million, and 100 million. And we change the narrative of what it means to be a human on this earth. And feel that joy at seeing all of us sharing that beautiful dream together. And luxuriate in that joy. And feel that good hope and that good responsibility. I can do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to let that hope and let that change begin with me. And let's go together. Let's take a deep breath in. And with a smile on your face, exhale. Again, breathe in deeply and smile out. And exhale. Now slowly open your eyes. And now I want you to just look around this room. And look around at all the people here. And then let's say to them, thank you for being here. Yeah. I feel hope from you. Please say that to them. I feel hope from you. Yeah. Let's be the change. Yeah. That's right. So everyone, I really appreciate you guys creating this amazing event. And I really appreciate to be part of this. And I want to invite anyone who's interested. Tomorrow I'm also going to be having a one-day brain education workshop on how to learn these tools to teach children and actually teach ourselves first how to utilize our body and brain and our emotions. So we'll have that tomorrow from 12 to 6 p.m. At the Kirkland Earth Citizen Learning Center. So we have information outside. But I hope the next time that I come, we can be in an even bigger setting together, sharing the beauty of the dream of the Earth Citizen. Thank you much. Thank you very much.